prove them wrong. Defender of the defenseless.
If you take care of that place, your man will eat that place up.
As class, we need a young, not young per se, but a slim guy.
Okay.
You can fuck us like 10 times, and then the next time you come, it's so tight.
Ouch.
Paula Amabruni returns to your screens with Moons and Cuddles on Tuesday, February 7, 2023, only on GhanaWeb TV.
We're going on a road trip to the Volta region, specifically Amejofe. Just see how everybody rushes onto you when you stop your car.
Join Wanda Hagan on her road trip to the Volta region as she returns to your screens for People and Places on Tuesday, February 7, 2023, only on GhanaWeb TV.
Now,
Back Hanokre. Susu sang quite be a want on and be a man in quite baby.
Mommy, you basically see about Kotoso. Pepoga, send me sicker from Lemonade Finance. While Brian did the shade and let me £10.
Lemonade Finance.
Say they're sending money back home from UK, Canada, and now US. I accepted an instant charge. Exchange waiting in Suya. Unbeatable. We should be promo code Dr. Like £10, $10, and $10 Canadian for the first transaction. With this time, this is Gakofino. Download to Lemonade Finance.
Right there. Losing someone dear to you can be very traumatizing. It's an experience a lot of people have never recovered from. The pain, anger, sadness, shock, and fear comes to play all at once. A lot more die in grief and depression. But while there is no rule on how to mourn a partner, can a society worsen the situation? When is the right time to bounce back and find love again? On this episode of Moons and Cuddles, we take a look at losing a partner and finding love again. I am Paula Amabruni. My guests are ready. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, the show continues. Welcome back to Moons and Cuddles on GhanaWeb TV with me, Paula Amabruni. So today's topic, I've got interest in it because at the age of 12, my father died and it was a big blow to me. I watched my mom go through the grieving process and then it wasn't easy. A lot more people have suffered same, but the thing has got to do with moving on after the death of the partner, because they say until death do us part. So a lot of people feel like, okay, you're moving on, it was too quick, you find love, sometimes it's hard to forget your partner. A whole lot of unanswered question when it comes to the death of a partner and moving on. So today my guest and I are going to discuss how to go through the grieving process, how best society can help, and you as the victim, if I should say, when is the right time to know that of course I've healed, and when moving on to the next relationship, I'm not going to affect the innocent person who is just coming in to love me and be with me and support with me, or support me throughout the journey. So to me, seated on my couch today to do the discussion, I must say I'm honored to have counselor and life coach, Uncle Kweku Edumata.
Yes, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Paulina.
You look like my father. There's a whole lot to Weighbridge I don't really want to talk about. The reason more I like you and connect with you, You look like my father.
Then God is sending me to you. Or you have seen the quasar father of yours.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah.
So pick a lot.
Thank you, Daddy, Uncle.
Right, whichever way.
Yeah. And I have here with me also Abba Sechiwa. Abba is the host of Urban Cross on Home Base TV. Abba is my classmate way back in GIJ. I love her. She's one hard-working woman and doing a lot for herself. Abba, good to have you on my couch.
I'm super excited to be here.
You're glowing.
Oh God, by the mercies of God.
God has been good. All right. So today, as topic, as we discussed, I told you earlier, we're just looking at the ways how best you can move on after the death of a partner, because it's a whole lot. The pain, the grief, the anger. Sometimes you are just angry. It's been 15 years. I lost my dad. I could just imagine if he was a partner. And sometimes I get angry, like really. Father's Day, I cannot even stand it. It's a whole lot. A lot of people don't know how to handle grief and then the loss of a loved one or family. So, Uncle Dumata, I want to find out, can someone ever fully recover from the death of a spouse?
Thank you so much, and greetings to your viewers. But prior to the details of your question, I want to make this analogy. If all of us know what we are in marrying, we will be able to understand what we are in. Because we don't know what we are marrying, that is why we are marrying. So anybody who gets into the marriage terrain is prepared to embrace all the unseens. And when the unseen become unseen, that is marriage. So the loss of a partner, nobody sort of will think and dream about it, but it will happen. If it does happen, Mom, you ought to move through this. The first stage is availing yourself to accept it. That it has happened. There is nothing you can do. He or she is no more. Accept it. And it will take you a while. Accepting it is the hallmark of your renewal. If you deny it, you pretend and you fake your whole demeanor for the entire marriage or after the marriage. Then, when you accept it, you come to where you are now going to face the real you. So as you were talking, you never accepted the fact that Daddy is gone. But it is when you have settled to the point, then the real you will come. I call it the you in you. You should always seek for the you in you. That is where you hit yourself and say, hey, this is who I am. If you don't get to that level, you'll still be living in denial. Then from there, you can now move in developing the tomorrow of you. So it's a whole process. But when it comes with a shock. It comes with, I least expected this. It comes with, what next? It comes with, what is really going to happen? How am I going to even live my life? So you live in some kind of a wishy-washy sort of situation of your life. But you see, that is what makes you a human being. But again, when this thing happens and the God factor is not in you, you can become somebody else. So the God factor, as God being the center of you, knowing that it is for a reason that Daddy or Mommy or whoever had left. You can fight it. You are asking this question because people are fighting with it. Why me? Why not them? Now that I'm about to enjoy my marriage, and then what is happening? When you start doing that, you'll be living in serious denial. It's a shock. Nobody sort of dreamed to have that. But it has happened. And I will say this, and I'll say it also here, that there is nothing that happens that there is no reason. There is always a reason for something to happen. Now, we being human beings, our role is to search for that reason. It is as a result of the thing that had happened that is making you new. If it has not happened, you will see the ingenuity in you. It is as a result of the thing that had happened that is making you innovative. You start. If Abba was here, I would have done it. Now Abba is not here. What do? You start. Become innovative and become creative. And you tend to come to a point and realize that, hey, hey, after all, it's good. Oh, now I've understood. When you get to that stage, that is where you are living your life. But as to the choice as to should I quickly go in for a new one, it's your prerogative.
All right.
It's your choice. Don't let anybody push you. You were saying earlier that, oh, somebody was just in there and almost 2-3 weeks. He has gone for another one. It might be that it was hanging. And so he was just waiting for
the right
a lead word and a bump.
Yeah, some people, to some partners, at their point of death, they're like, they make you promise that, see, no matter what, you're going to move on because they know they are gone. Some people will tell you that those who have the time, maybe it's out of sickness and all that. But about someone will say, I lost a husband, I lost a wife, it hasn't been a year, maybe it's been years, but we all say it's easier said than done. When you are faced with it, you know you're God, you're a Christian, you know that there's life after death, but you've been hit with this reality. How would you go through the process? Counselor had said that, but from your point of view as a woman, how would you go through the process?
So first and foremost, I might say that I'm really excited to be here with Counselor.
Yeah.
You know, when I was in the reception and I saw him walking, I'm like, God, you have a way you do your things and you show off. And that's just what I was saying when I was sitting there, and I just took my eyes off. I'm like, I'm just praising God right where he is. So the truth is that the Bible says that all things work for the good of them that love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. So sometimes, like you were saying, I lost my biological dad 10 years ago. And after, I lost my stepdad. Now, after, you know, once you lose your dad, there's this dad that traditionally from the family, it'd be like, this is your father, so this person will take care of you. So after my dad died, a year after he died, so I had to ask a lot of questions. I'm like, God, why? Because growing up, I didn't get the opportunity to stay with my biological dad. So all this while, I'm like, okay, when I'm getting married one day, I'll let my stepdad know that I'm really appreciative of what he did for me. And now, bam, he's gone. What am I going to do? But it was God in me that saved me. And so if you watch my post on Instagram, on Facebook, every time I keep mentioning Jesus, because I got to a point in my life where I realized that at that point in time, there was nothing anybody could say to me
that could heal.
It's at a point, it's like I'm speaking to you and you are trying to say things to calm me, but it is not working. I have been through too much for this thing to happen to me. So at that point, that is when, as a Christian, you learn to rest on God. You learn to rest that, like Uncle said, God has a reason why everything happens. Sometimes you don't know it immediately, but after some years, you sit and you're like, okay, so this happened. Not to say that you losing a partner or a relative is good. It has its own, you know, backlashes and all that. But it teaches you. I once told my friend that what experience will teach you, there is no life coach that can teach you. You go through it alone. And so if you watch even people who are divorcees, when they tell you something like, why are you saying this with so much passion? The person has gone through it. You understand? And so first and foremost, how to deal with it, have a good cry. Scripture says that, and Jesus wept. And there's a difference between weeping and crying. There's a difference. Have time. If it's your room, your couch, sit on it and cry. Like, mourn properly and don't pretend about it. Oh, I'm fine. You can have a whole lot of things going on with you. Have a good cry. Cry till you know that, oh, I think now it's okay, and you know, you understand, because at that point there's nothing anybody can tell you. And as to you going for another partner there and then, Uncle said he leaves it to you, but I'm saying
really, we'll delve more into that. But recently, was last year in August, my childhood friend, she lost her father, and I called her. I told her I know a lot of people have told you, you'll be fine, it takes time. But take it from me, you know I also lost my father. And I just put in 1 or 2 words, and I told her time will heal. For now, she should just mourn and let herself go and all that. Usually when someone is in that state, when you lose your husband or wife, it seems like everybody has got to say. And then when you mourn them in your own way, maybe at a time you don't even want to eat, you don't want to hear anything, you just want to be alone. Everybody thinks that they've got to say that, okay, this is how best you can do it. But you are not me, I am not you. How best can family, friends, and even the society at large help someone who is going through that difficult time?
Paulina, I would say when it happens like that, almost everybody wants to show how close they are to you. Everybody wants to feel a certain vacuum that you cannot have. And so they are not more or less imposters, but they are trying to say that we are still with you, quote unquote. But that is why there is a hearing and listening. So who do you hear? Who do you listen? So you will hear all of them, but you should have those you will listen to.
Okay.
This is where you need to draw your line. And this one calls for real maturity and wisdom from God. Because if you are going to listen to everything, you get confused. That is why if you are not careful, you fight them. You raise your voice. You do those things. But choose who you listen to and choose who you hear. The hearing, everybody will say it to soothing you. But which one do you listen? And that is where you pick your choices from.
All right.
If you don't do that, you will always become like, look at what she's doing. Look at what he's doing. We are empathizing with you, sympathizing with you, and look at the way you are behaving. They will ward you off.
So, Uncle, at that time, when someone is just don't know how to control their emotions, should you step back a bit? And how understanding can you be? Because some people don't understand, like, okay, you cannot do this alone, you want to help.
Contain. That is why you're doing the listening. All right? Sorry, the hearing. But contain it. You see, when it happens like that, you start warding people off. They get hurt.
Yeah.
Because they want to get closer to you to lift you up a bit. But you are giving a different interpretation to it.
All right.
And that is why they will say, are you too? All right? So they will also stay back. Then at the end of the day, you become a loner. The only person left. And that your grief compound itself. So contain. And make sure that, oh, they are doing this because they want me to feel they are there, they are around me.
All right.
So you need to be able to condition yourself. You will not hear too many good things. But as I said, sieve through the listening to the hearing proper. That will help you. But that the people around you will always show that we sort of empathize with you. Don't embrace those who sympathizes with you. When you are in grief, be careful.
Right.
Don't always receive sympathy, because much more sympathy deepens your grief. I'm telling you. But then when you empathize with them, it lifts you up. So you told your friend that you also lost your father. Oh, really? So is that how? And you have been able to oh, then I can also. So you are trying to empathize yourself. Don't receive sympathy. When you do that, you break down.
All right. Well noted. Now, in the case with husband, to sickness, maybe sometimes they just don't die. Maybe you go through a lot. You have to be with them, stick by. It's a whole lot. Now, from where I come from, as Hanakan, when your husband dies, you're supposed to mourn him, and you have to wear the black cloth for a whole long year. Yes. Now, people have come out to say, see, we are going through a lot. Adding the black clothes wearing every day, it doesn't help with situation. So, Abba, are you in for the whole thing? Should we continue with the 1 whole year, or please, we can grieve in our own way? I can wear my colorful clothes, go to work. Because imagine me coming to work as a journalist all the time, and maybe God forbid, it will happen. But let's say I lost my partner.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet. And coming to work in black, it doesn't help. It doesn't even uplift me. Imagine me sitting on this set all the time wearing black. It's like you caging the person. Do you think that it's about time we cut short the whole duration of mourning your husband for a year and then the black cloth? things that come with it?
Okay. So formally, I'll say yes. But I came to understand that it has to do with the individual. Because when I lost my dad, my stepdad, my mom was wearing this whole black stuff. In fact, when she got like 8 months, we were like, Ma, now there's been changes. 6 months is fine. And she's like, Debbie, Abba, oh, Papa, no, yeah, they don't met was so. So it has to do with that particular person, the individual. Or maybe how you wear with the person will decipher as to whether you wear it for a long time or not. And also, if the person is young, or let's say I'm in a working environment and I'm always coming in black, it sort of raises an eyebrow. People who don't even know would want to know why. And so sometimes they'll be like, oh, I don't want to wear black and blah, blah, blah. But with the individual, probably I want to mourn my husband. People have, you know, diverse ways they do their things. And so they'll say, I want to mourn my husband. I want my husband to know. I don't know if by then, if you are dead, you would know or not. You know, we Africans, we have ways of doing things that are sometimes interesting. So my mom says, oh, I'm going to wear this black because your dad was good to me, blah, 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 blah. But I think after 6 months it's fine. Because at a point, and after my mom wore the black stuff for, I think, a year, all the stuff you wore during that period, you have to dash it out. I think it has a way of telling you you are done with the person, you've parted ways with the person, blah blah blah. And if you ask me, I'll say I really don't get the link. Like, what's the link between wearing black and showing the person you really love the person? But my mom would say there's someone, I also know of one other young lady who wore it for like 6 months, not because she didn't like her husband, but at a point, like you were saying, she would have to go to work and change her clothes, and sometimes she was tired of it, and so she went to church and then she performed all the necessary rites.
Well, by the way, when my dad too passed, my sister mourned him by wearing black clothes for a whole year. That's for her dad, not her husband. Yeah.
That's your sister.
So a lot happened. As you said, it depends on how you relate with the person. Right. The conversation is getting very interesting, but as we said, we are looking at ways we can help people who are going through the grieving process and how that society, friends and family can help such a person. We'll take a quick break here. When we come back, Mons and Cuddles continues. Welcome back. This is Mons and Cuddles on GhanaWeb TV with me, Paula Amabroni. Now,
Paula, I don't want to cut you. I just want to add something to what you asked.
Yeah,
before we
went on the break.
You see, it's about honoring, and it depends on the relationship you were having before the death.
Okay.
If it was a deep, connected, cleaving sort of moment that the two of you cannot separate yourself, you speak the same language, it's a bit difficult. Because the person still hangs around. The spirit of person hangs around. And it takes a while. Because he's still hanging to see, have I left properly for you? Is everything all right? Still watching. That is why you do that black thing, for the person to realize that I am in mourning. So as to the duration, as he said, it depends on the person in question. But the issue here is that it is honoring and making sure that you are no more with me. That's why you do it for that period. But again, if today technology is coming in and you guys are working and all of that, yes, you still need to do.
Imagine a husband or a wife who was very abusive and who didn't treat you well, absolutely nothing. And then who said we can say aduma and I say.
And when I'm coming back, that is what I'm coming there. You see, when the relationship is so solid, that's fine. But where it was, you know, that question.
I mean,
everywhere
you
that's exactly what they say.
I think scripture, Genesis chapter 38, there was a man in there who was with a woman, his wife. And he didn't, for want of a better word, meet with, in the scripture they use the word meet with his wife properly. And so anytime they meet, he doesn't put the right liquid in the right. So at a point, the Bible says that, and God killed him. If you are in a relationship with your wife, or you both are married, and then, mind you, Bible says that once you marry, you guys become one. And so if you marry and then you decide, oh, I'm married but I'm still single, I'm going to do things that pleases only me, remember there's a third person in there. It's not just for we Christians, it's not just two people that marry, it has to do with the third person up there. He really decides what goes in there. So if you are doing something and then it happens that, oh, you've been doing this and then God kills you, what?
Yes, it's true. You see, even at that sort of situation, the relationship being sour, everybody will see. Everybody will see that you are pretending, you are being hypocritical, you are hiding. Everybody will see. Because your real relationship was not real. So you are even rejoicing internally to yourself. So instead of you to go through the 8 months or 6 months, we'll open about 3 months.
3 months.
All these things count. And people watch. And let me tell you, when you are grieving or you are mourning, the eyes that look or watches you have a lot of meaning. So don't think nobody's watching. Even that small boy, that small girl. Mommy, you're not crying. Mommy, you are eating. Why are they asking those questions?
My mom didn't take meat for, I think, months.
Maria.
But there's some people too in their grieving process, they just want to eat, like they want to eat. So it's
but you hide it, not in the eyes of the public. Not in the eyes of the public.
Of course,
right.
Of course. But then earlier I said that my friend lost a father in August, and I was telling her that, oh, Amma, time will heal.
Yes.
For the moment.
Yes.
But the big question is, does time really heal?
It does.
It does.
It does, and it takes you. It does. It takes you. And it was just a profound thing you said to your friend. You didn't even know the meaning of what you're saying, but that was the best sort of advice anybody could give to her.
It's because you've been there.
Fantastic. You spoke from your inner core. Time. What is time? That thing that tickles, or when there is a new day, it is the period you have. So ask yourself. You can end up your time just right now if you decide. So the time will heal is the decision and the choices you from now. That the thing that happened. That is what it means.
All right.
So if you want to live longer, it's actually about your decision. So the time you set is not the one that tickles every second, every minute. No, but it is about how you hold on to make sure that, oh, if he couldn't do this, then I will complete it. So you need to make that decision to prolong the time. So it does.
Abba,
profound statement.
Thank you very much, Councillor. So with the whole having to encourage friends and loved ones who are going through the grieving process, with me, it wasn't my father's instance, but then I lost someone very dear to me, and I was crying, and I just didn't know how to go about it. And then someone was telling me that, and it's encouragement.
That's an encouragement.
But then, how the person put it, it was just of course, maybe someone lost a child, and you are trying to tell her that, and you can talk about the life after death whole thing. But when is the right time to say what? Because you might be giving me encouragement that, you know, as we say, God give it and he take it. But then at the time that you are saying that, maybe that is not what I want to hear right now. I know God gives and God takes. How can you be measured?
Okay, so the truth of the matter is that sometimes you hear someone speaking, you're like, this person speaks so well, like uncle. I as a Christian, I will interpret it as it is the spirit of wisdom.
That's right.
There is nothing that you do that, for me, once I accepted Jesus, I know that the power of the highest came and stayed in me, and so I am lives in me. So if I'm about to speak to you regarding a certain issue, I trust the spirit of God in me to say the right thing.
Exactly.
Do you understand? I can't just go and then I start saying certain things and then at the end of the day I even spoil the whole thing because I trust that the God in me. That's how come the truth is there is nothing I can say that will make you feel well. Unless, of course, it is given.
A message to deliver to that person.
You understand? And sometimes it's like you winning a soul. You will try and talk to the person and the person will not accept Jesus. But the day you were not prepared, you even said one or two things, the person starts to cry, I want to accept you. I'm like, wait, what did I say to you?
It's not you.
It is the spirit that convicts a man. So if you have somebody who is going through a lot and you really genuinely want to help the person, I think sometimes you just stay somewhere. If it's even for 5 minutes, say, God, tell me what to tell this person. You might not say everything, but you might say something that might touch the person's heart. You, for one, what you told your friend that time heals. Do you know, maybe it will help her for a while. But after some years, I always say that time is a silent prophet. After some years, it's like, this thing that Paula told me, that was what made me hold on. That was what kept me. So it is not about how prepared I can go and read books and say, okay, I'll read. No. But it is the spirit in the man that speaks to a man.
Again, let me add this to it. You see, the state in which you find yourself with the losing your partner, you need to determine the state. Almost everybody will throw words at you. But how do you stop fighting people? But you should be able to see it the way you want to see it, hear it the way you want to hear it. But if you want to critique what is coming, you fight. So it is you.
As you're saying, you have to like listening and then. Oh, how did the
you listen. There's a hearing and then the listening aspect of it. So you need to weigh the two. But I always say you are the pivot.
Right.
Don't let them throw things at you and receive them. Block them.
Find strength in you.
Fantastic. And then see how well you can give a good interpretation to yourself.
So I've seen a man mourn his wife and then it's terrible. He doesn't know what to do. It's like he's totally broken. The kids, how is he going to figure things out? And then there comes the bemensu. Na bemade na ususa na pick yourself and all of that. In our part of the world, people they just take things for granted. Like, you don't know how he's going to. Forget about his gender, whether he's a man or you see the person as a strong woman. So I want to ask, at that moment, do you request or would you suggest that the person sees a psychiatrist or a psychologist? Or because it's when you hit depression and all that, sometimes it's not all about the words or people who are going to stay with you and all that. So for someone who's watching us and he or she has done everything in their mind, pray about it, take time to grieve, mourn, you just name it, and it's still not working. Should you see a psychologist? Should you see a counselor or get help?
Okay, all these are good. But I tell you for a fact that if you should identify who you are, it's a different ball game altogether.
Fantastic.
You might be mourning, you might be going through a lot of stuff, but there comes a time you pause for a minute and then ask yourself, who am I? What is my purpose? What can I do? How can I overcome this? Because all the people you've mentioned, like Uncle Dumata will always say, fantastic, they are great people. You know, they will help you one way or the other. But it takes two to tango. If Uncle Dumata, he's a coach, and he's like, today we have him here and he's talking to us. It's the onus lies on you as to whether you accept it or not. It is still you. If you should go to a president, go to a man of God, it is still you. Just sit for a moment and then assess yourself. What do I have in me? Like really, how can I go about this thing? What can I do about this thing? That's for me is the first step. Really. You have to really know who you are. What can you do? Sometimes, like Uncle Edumata rightly said, you have to know the you in you.
Exactly.
You have to know you. And everybody has you.
Exactly.
Like, you have something in you that nobody knows.
Exactly.
You know, growing up, myself and my brothers, I have 9 brothers. I'm the only lady.
Wow.
And and all my brothers, you ask them, this person wants to be a doctor. This person wants to... My mama asked me, as young as I was, I said, Mommy, I want to talk.
Wow.
She's like, no, but that's what be a kasa. And growing up, I realized that everyone will talk, but when I talk, I realize I have spoken. And it comes from you. And all these things, I can't, sensitive. positive things here, but there are things that hits you so hard that makes you know who you are. And that's how come sometimes when you are broken-hearted, you realize that you do a lot of things within that time.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have gone through that cycle before.
That.
You do a lot of things
there.
during that time. So in your brokenness stage, sit back and find out who you are.
Great question. Let me add this to it.
All right.
You see, never let shock usurp you. Don't get drunk when the unexpected hit you. You call rain sample. No! I take you to the Bible, 2 Kings. The woman called in the Shunammite lady, looking for a baby. All these while met Prophet Elisha, and indeed he was able to have conceived and had a baby. Years later, the baby dies. Now you meet the same prophet and he's asking you, how are you, husband boy? Look at the statement. It is well. Don't let the shock surmount you. Don't let the shock end you. But build what I call the toughness in you. Now you are building the toughness in you because it has happened. But then you still have tomorrow to live.
Right.
Tomorrow will come. What has happened today was at yesterday.
Right.
All right? Yesterday was that day. But tomorrow always comes. So if tomorrow is going to come, then what do? I pause, I analyze, I assimilate, get my grounds well, then I pivot. I use the guy who is the high jumper. The high jumper cannot split if where they step last to move is not solid. So it's always about how well can you fly. It depends on where you're going to stand and pivot yourself.
Right.
So don't let these shocks eat you. It is when it eats you and you cannot actually handle it. That's why you want to see psychologists, and then you realize that even the you in you is dead.
Like,
So that is where it starts from. You know, you not engineering the real being of yours.
but Counselor, you advise that when you've tried everything possible and it's not helping, or
Yes.
you should get help by speaking
Get
to a
help,
counselor.
but the help should come from somebody who is godly sent. It's not anybody. Because people use your vulnerability to usurp you and mess you up and put you into something else.
Exactly.
It's that.
Before you realize.
So you need to have a God-sent person to speak to you. And you should also prepare your mind that you will listen to what the person says.
All right. So based on the submissions you made, it all boils down to you, the individual, the person who's going through the grief. Now, we're all looking at ways where we could not forget them, but when we are hit with that reality, how to, go through that process. Now, someone who says in the house, the things that he used, the pictures, everywhere, wherever I pass, I see it. It's always there in my face. At that moment when you are trying to heal and, put yourself or bring yourself, bounce back, that is the word, bounce back, should you do away with the little things that reminds you, like maybe that picture that is hanging there, they say, maybe should you do away with it for some time, and then later on when you think that you're back or you're on your foot? Because with me, when I lost a friend very close to me, I found myself going back to read our chat, and then that was like, I was really broken with that. But then I always felt like, okay, I want to keep him up in my mind, but that didn't help. Listen to the song that we used to listen to and all that, it didn't help. So the advice to someone who is going through, should you do away with all the thing, or you might say you are being insensitive because they once lived, why are you trying to clear them?
Once again, it has to do with you.
Yeah.
Because for me, I have my dad's pictures everywhere. Because seeing that picture reminds me of something I overcame. And so I will keep it. It's different from you going back to the chats. It's like you going back to certain things that will make you feel some way emotionally. But for me, if I'm to see that, that is like, hey, you can do it one more time.
That is after you've gone through, the time has healed though. Now I look at it and I laugh like, yeah. But then, okay.
Yeah, because I still keep them. Because you see, there was a time I went through something that was some way. Now I looked at that paper during that same time, that picture And I'm like, if my dad is a lion, if my dad is an elephant, then a baby elephant doesn't need a prophecy to tell me I'll be big. That is him there. So it has to do with you. And if you say, I'm going to a whole lot of stuff right now, like Uncle said, and so you are pushing everything away, pushing everybody, pushing his pictures, throwing them away. So after you've healed, will you still go back for them? Like, if really will you go back for them? Because I remember we couldn't sleep in my dad and my mom's room because we were like, no. And my grandma was like, no, you have to be there. If not, a dynamo be drew. So it's either you face it, like it's not anything you don't face, you go back and you still have to face it. So you have to face it now, or you face it again.
The conversation is getting interesting, but I have to face my break. So we'll take a quick break here. When we come back, Mons and Carlos continues. Welcome back. This is Mons and Carlos on GhanaWeb TV. So we are discussing healing or moving on after the death of a partner, and I've been doing this with counselor and life coach Uncle Kweku Edumata and Abba Sichua. So Uncle, you said you were going to ask something.
Yes,
too.
you asked the question whether you should do away with all the images and all that. Yes, you can. You can decide not to. But what is of important is look for the good in that person. That's when I say it in Tree. Don't always record the bad deeds, but the picture should recall you of the good deeds. Just like you said, the elephant. If my father is an elephant, then the elephant baby should be able to. So look for the positives. So the pictures can be there, but look for what was good in that person.
Great.
That with all this goodness you couldn't achieve that, I will continue for you. So it challenges you. It shouldn't let you break down.
Right.
Yeah.
So among Mons and Carlos, we always look for ways to help, because people are watching, they've got life issues that they think that they've tried all their best, but sometimes it's good to hear advice from experts and people who have gone through the process. So now we've spoken about how to heal, how best friends and family can help. We've said when all is said and done. Now, when is the right time to find love again? Because the Bible said, until death do us pass, I fulfilled the part of my vow. You are gone and all that. When is the right time to heal and find love again?
Settle. And I take you to the Bible. Ruth. Naomi's sons went to war and they died. 2 ladies came to the house to marry, Orpah and Ruth. Orpah left because Naomi said, the man you want to marry is no more here. She left. One tiasi. But Ruth said, no, you can't dare me. I am staying. Now watch. It is when you get to the point of healing, when you have gone through all the 3 stages I made mention of, accepting the fact, getting to know that this thing is really happening to you, and you having decided to move on, that is where you can decide. It got to a point, Ruth married Boaz, isn't it?
Yeah.
Exactly. So when it comes, as you just said, time will tell. When it comes, get yourself ready. And don't replay the previous. Play forward and the future.
All right.
It should be about yourself. Are you ready? Don't let people push you. Don't let anybody walk you through. No, you yourself. Sure.
To that man or woman who's found love again 4 months after the death of their partner, everybody's thinking, hey, now say how you na when you're for free. What would your advice be to people who always have a thing to say in people's life? Or do you think that is so fast, you moved on too quick?
2 things. I You see, people who have a lot to say about people's lives, I have problems with them. And also, I have a problem with the one who moved on after 4 months. Because at the end of the day, it is you. The one you are moving on with. At the end of the day, you will get to a point where that person, or probably you start to compare that person with, and the point is you have not healed. You really have not healed to move on. Until you heal, you really should not move on. And the fact that you're a man doesn't exempt you from, you know, pain and all that. I always say that men are way more emotional than women, and people are like, it's not true. It is so true. Until you find that person who makes you really know that, this thing is really true. Guys are really emotional. You see, the thing about guys is they keep it. They don't tell you about it until they have a certain relationship with you. They really don't tell. But it's we ladies that we are very vocal about things. And but a guy is not going to tell you anything. He's just going to make you feel he's got it. So I'm moving on. I'm setting the pace so that every other one that comes after me will know that you have to. No, but in life there are steps. You have to take it slow. You have to relax. You have to make sure you as a person has healed before you join with the other. If not, you are going to worry someone else.
Does the healing take years or months? If years, how many years do you think is healing?
It has to do with you.
Because someone who lost a wife told me he's remarried, right? And he's telling me that it never goes. Once in a while, their thought comes in, and then you don't know how to go about it. It will never go.
It never goes, true. But you get to a point where you can handle it.
You can love someone else. Find love in someone else.
You really get to a point where, at a point, like Uncle Dumata said, you have actually matured over that situation, and so you can move on. Until that, you are worrying yourself, and you are wasting a lot of time. Now, with regards to people who have a lot to say about people's lives, I think Uncle Dumata has to say something before I say that, because I think I need to take a drink. Because that thing, I don't get it. Because you don't know why the person is doing what the person is doing. You don't know why the person is going through what he or she is going through. And then you just conclude, how? Why would you do that? Because assuming I have lost a partner and I have a lot of things. Well, let me tell you one funny thing. My mom, after losing my dad, my mom has a pub. She has a bar. And she, after losing my dad, I think 6 months or 4 months, she played, after the whole funeral, she played live band at her bar. And then the next morning, I heard my mom crying. So I went to her room and asked her, Mama, then I was to go say. And she's like, people are saying after her husband died, she's doing this, she's doing that. But at that time, my younger brother had to go to school. He was now going to, I think, one had completed SHS, going to the uni, and one was going to SS. What was she supposed to do? That is the work she was doing. So how was she supposed to take it all? She had to just pause, and then that year, nothing should go on. You see, some of the things people say to people, you really have no idea what it does to them. So do not say it. Just don't say things about, especially if you don't know anything about it. Unless, of course, you're a relative and you really, like Uncle Dumata said, you want to empathize with the person, want to, speak to the person or advise to the person. Don't say things you do not know. I leave it there.
Pauline, emotions kills. It swallows you. It distorts you. It's call for darkness in your life, emotions. But reality is the light. So when all these things are happening, don't play emotional card in here. Because the moment you play the emotional card, you feel, no, you're not ready yet. No, I want to. No. Face reality. I told you earlier that it happened for a reason, it happened for a purpose, it happened for a cause. You are the one to choose these 3 courses. If you're not able to pick them right, you'll be wrong forever. Nobody wished for the one I love to leave me. But it has happened. Right? What were we talking about prior the going? We'll build mansion, we'll do the... Can you still do it when one is not there? That is your challenge.
Go to school like you planned.
Fantastic. And all that is the reality. But when you sit with emotion clouding you, you'll be late. You'll be back and nobody will be there to sort of be with you. You are late because you have allowed emotions to cloud you. Face reality. obi adia to ne ni no nim se yinifa na de na to woni no na sama adia to ni bi is up to you. That is a wisdom in there. It has happened. I've seen it. I am making it. Next time I know what to do. So don't let emotions cloud you when these things happens to you, but face reality.
So most instance, because when my dad died, I was young then, but as young as 12 years, I didn't like the idea of my mother even having another man to look at my mom, or even have to call someone my stepdad. Now I'm much older. I've been open to certain things, so I think I'm not going to be a hindrance to my mother's happiness. But a lot of kids hate the whole stepmother stepfather idea, and even when their parents a way to frustrate that new person. Now, what are some of the reasons that cause people to remarry? Because someone will say, you know, the kids are so young. A man will say the kids are so young, you know, friends will come, family will come, but I need someone, a woman in my life to take care of my kids. A woman too will say, see, I need that manly figure. I can't be all alone. I'm too young and all that. What are some of the reasons why people do?
Let me say this before Abba comes.
Okay.
We are all growing, right?
Yeah.
But I will speak from a grown-up, what a grown-up told me. Says, Kweku, we drew baby a warm mob. But we hear Obia Wonjao. That's the word the man told me. And I cried. All right, this is a great man. But 70, 60, 70, 80, you need a companion. It is not when we marry that we need a companion. It is in our old age.
Come to think of it.
It is, look, we have to now, you see, we are all growing. But let me tell you, even when you are alone sleeping and there's nobody in the room, you see how you feel? And you are growing, you need somebody to say, it's a saying, oh yes,
the
sorry.
kids will go, they'll marry and
fantastic. So that aspect will call for you looking for a companion. You need it. Sure. And for the children around, yes, they will be jealous. We used to have daddy, we used to have mommy, we're from this woman, we're from this man. It's normal. But when they're also growing to a point, they will ask you, Mama, what you? Daddy, you see? So you don't push them by way of you saying that this is what I want, so you should listen to me. But let them rather throw in the towel and embrace that option appropriately. But I always say, real marriage is when you are old. That is why we are dead. And yet, it's not what we're doing now. So don't tell me when you marry today, you have found a companion. So I don't believe that. Grow me in it, and then let's see.
I think
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you need that. And let me tell you, every great man that is old, about to die, needs a woman. So it goes with a woman. Needs a man.
Right. Now, I always wondered, for someone who's lost a partner, maybe you are young, maybe in your mid-40s or 50s, you lost your husband or wife. Now, the issue of sex, no. How are you going to get it? Because, see, sometimes people are young. A woman who loses her husband, she's young and all that. Is that some of the reason why we'll push you to, you know, at least fine? Because some people are Christian, they don't want to use the back door. So they're legally bounded. You're allowed to do it. Okay. With that, because maybe I always feel like, hey, so all the while, no, your partner died. Be crying. How are you living? How is life? You are grieving, and that's you.
Outside thought. This is outside thought.
I'm not married, but I like to speak to people who are much older than me, and so I get a lot of counsel from them. Now, what's my grandmom? No, wasn't my biological grandmom, but one of my grandmothers, like I said something to my younger brother. My younger brother was misbehaving with a certain lady, and he said, "Sisia de na uni worry. Now maybe as you married, you were not good to your wife. Now wow kokra brim. Now you see own fewer. Now better with him, and we laughed about it. But it is really a serious statement, because after all, like I don't want to go with the sex thing, but actually, how many minutes? Hey Abba, No, I haven't.
You don't know how.
You see,
please.
For you to be maybe enjoying. No, wait. No, maybe you were enjoying See, let's not. Some people feel like maybe when you need to baby the sex they can't find home. But wait,
do you know the reason I'm saying that? There are a whole lot of people who have married people and they looked at the physique, and then they get married, get the physique, and they get tired of the physique. Yes. It is really not about the physique. Really, it is not about the physique. It is even not about. You see, at a point in time, there's something called companionship. Like, you need someone to talk to, someone to share ideas with. And sometimes it even goes like a very simple decision. If you have a trusted person, someone you are with who is really trusted, that is when you know the essence of some of these things. Unless you get someone who is really trusted and someone who is really matured in that regard, you think, oh, after all, what is this thing? And I get that you are 40 and you really want to do this thing.
Oh, Charlie.
It might be somebody's reason. No, listen, it is not bad. It might be somebody's reason.
Because when you lose your husband or wife when you are very young, they're like, see, it'll be too much. Because if you're not, you start living recklessly.
You need to have somebody. You need somebody.
Can I say
when you come back home, let's take a breather.
You see, sex is a mind. Sex is a decision. Sex is not act. It's not the act. Tell you, it's the act you want. But what is the decision? It must start from somewhere. So if my mind is not there, if I'm not ready, if I'm not in the right frame of mind and the state, it won't happen.
Oh yeah, come to think of it.
It won't happen. And so I am young and my man is gone, my lady is gone. Mistakes in the same. Emma. Who couldn't pay that? Who for? All right. So we should always draw a line between the act. The act there, that's sound, not fun. But if it's a decision you yearn for.
All right. All right, Counselor. But show the mama yen play mystery boss a banner, you be a bet twice. So it's just various questions. We'll pick it back.
Just closer to your face.
Hey, sorry. Okay, so
what's it?
Okay, so this goes like this. What would you do if your wife or partner cheats? Like finding out that your partner has broken the vow.
I'll be silent.
You'll be silent.
I won't talk.
Hey, silent treatment. No, so
I won't talk. I'll be silent. But if he or she realizes that I have sinned, then let me see how remorseful you are. Come back to me.
Silent treatment.
And then I will ask you 3 questions. Why you weren't doing that? Who did you do it? Comparing that person with me, who is of importance? And why do you want to come back to me?
That's 4. It makes 4.
4. If you can give me this, then I'll see how remorseful you are. I'll take it back. My silence. Don't fight it. And you see, how can you go back for it? You don't need to. Prove to me. If you want me back, let me see. Silent is one of the tools in marriage. You win the day. As if nothing has happened. No, it won't even come. Silent. That's my answer.
I've added that to my list.
And that's a practical thing I'm talking about.
All right.
Yedi.
And then they go, watch your boy. Yedi.
Now, I've text message. Now they are watching social media. What tea?
Yeah. Okay.
You don't have any reverence.
Oh, great.
You've lost your importance. Your image is gone.
Abba, how dear me ubenya. But so dear. Fana yen share the echo. Honest answers. Thank you very much. About dear new. How?
Say?
So when you pick an empty sheet, you get to ask me any question.
You know what? I have been a Jesus girl all my life. Everywhere I go, Jesus keeps helping me.
It has to be just.
So there's nothing there.
Yeah. They said she need Mudia. That's the
No, she should pick a new.
Oh no, that's the wrong.
Today I'm changing the rule.
See,
pick a new.
All those who come here, Obia and Fawe, let me say,
oh, really?
If you got any question, yeah.
Then you are genuine.
Let's hear your question for me.
Oh wow. Okay. I didn't know this was going to be tough as well. Okay. I was about to ask that same question, but the thing is, the answer should be different from Uncle Matters one. Yeah. So what would you do if it were to be you?
If my partner cheats on me.
And you saw it.
And you saw it. Hey, that's a different thing.
If it was
different and you seeing it.
Until a few minutes ago, no. Now come in, you're silent. But you're too me funty. Me copy so dear. Hey, me now I'm sir. Oh, sir.
I doubt you even have the gas to talk.
The shock.
I mean, Kasa.
Be a pronoun. Oh, so sorry.
You just make sure they saw you.
And don't leave the home. Be at the sitting room.
Hey,
get yourself busy.
But you know, you the guy or you the lady who cheated, you'll be really scared. If this is the person cooking for you daily, and the person does not say anything, the person has caught you.
Jeez. That is why you have to zero yourself from the hero to zero. Calm down.
Okay.
And let's talk.
Say there until you know, but maybe well, I'll tell you that I will not overreact. I'll try my best not to overreact. And then because I'm very forgiving. That's one thing I've told myself. Going to marriage, see, anything can happen, but then I have to, you know, learn how to be forgiving. But before we end today's conversation, I just want to take advice from you. People who sometimes go through relapse, you are healed and all that, but from time to time, even when you've moved on and all that, I don't know how best the new partner will respect that. Fine, that person who was once gone, you love that person dearly, so they will give you that space to mourn and all that. Finally, advice to people who are going through that and those who have also found love, how best you can handle the new relationship.
Well, what I'll say is that don't overdo to the detriment of the other party. All right, you have lost it. I'm now in your life. Give me the leverage. We all have past. Stop upholding your past. Let's talk about what we hold now and where we are heading towards. That leverage will give us a sense of purpose and we will live well. And if you have found yourself a new one with the passing one, please make sure the ills you did with the passing one, you don't repeat it in the present one. It's a real check. And again, remember who had come now. What is the reason? What is the purpose? If you can't find tomorrow in it, then I'm sorry you've lost it. You should be able to see the tomorrow aspect of it. It's a bit sad though, but inyesi.
Thank you very much, Uncle Dumata. How about final
So these
words?
are my final words as well. I must say this discussion has been a learning curve for me. I have learnt a lot from everybody, especially Uncle Dumata.
Oh, thank you so much.
I bless the heavens.
It is the Lord. It is the Lord. It is the Lord. You are Jesus' daughter.
So I would say that, like Uncle Dumata said, if you found somebody and probably you didn't try to get healed and then you moved in a rush, that's fine. The fact that you've accepted that one, I didn't heal before going in there, is a beginning of a solution. And so now that you've realized that, work on yourself. And also do not work on yourself alone, because now you're not alone.
Sure.
You are with the person. So engage the other person. Let the person know that this is where my difficulties are. This and this is the reason why I can't do this. So I need you to do this together with me. And at the end of the day, you guys come to, you know, a beautiful conclusion. But if you do it alone, at the end of the day, it means you are still sidelining the other person. Don't forget, there's another person in the picture. So you'd have to do it with the person so that it will all go smooth sailing. That's it for me. And also engage God. Engage God.
Why?
Patriotic.
I feel now why?
Patchwine.
Why? Then audience, I'm telling you, I've not concluded the show. These two ladies have something you need. Go look for it.
Thank you. Thank you. And coming from you, oh my God, my status. Just look at my status, guys. Like, I'm coming for you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming. And I want you to put out your social media handles where we can reach you out for someone who's listening to you or anything.
Okay. So on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, I'm Sechiwa Anta. Everywhere. Sechiwa Anta.
Well, Facebook has it. Uncle Kwekwe matter just about that. I am not too glued to that, but I'm starting picking small.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much to Abba Sechiwa. She's the host of Urban Course on Home-Based TV, and counselor and life coach Uncle Kweku Edumata.
Yes, dear.
Amaned, you've got no ideas.
That's
you know,
huge
everybody
thing.
gets
Life
stung
coach.
when they meet someone they always look up to. I've seen him on shows and all that, and for me to have him on my show, I made it.
Tell me about
it.
it.
It is God's doing.
It is God's doing.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm honored to have sat or moderated this discussion, and I always say that we're always looking for ways to help us, whether in your relationship and when that person is no longer there. But one thing I always say, don't be too hard on yourself. When you are going through the grieving process, see, hope and believe that the time will come when you laugh. Because sorrow may last. It will last. It is a part of us. One day you will all equally die, and your family and your friends will miss you and all that. But don't be too hard on yourself. That's what I say. And just keep up the faith. Be prayerful. Do things that make you happy. And find love in the eyes of your children and the family and people who are truly there to help you through that process. I am Paula Amabroni. We'll be back with the next episode of Moons and Cuddles. Thanks for watching.
We are going on a road trip to the Volta region, specifically Amejofe. Just see how everybody rushes onto you when you stop your car.
Join Wanda Hagan on her road trip to the Volta region as she returns to your screens for People and Places on Tuesday, February 7, 2023, only on GhanaWeb TV.
Now,
Obek Kanokre. Susu sang kwai bia wan to nam bia e man kwai bebre.
Mommy, you fish can see about Kotoso. Mepoga, send me sika from Lemonade Finance. Wa Brian, and let me £10.
Lemonade Finance.
Say they're sending money back home from UK, Canada, and now US. I accepted instant charges. Exchange waiting in so unbeatable. We should make promo code Dr. Like £10, $10, and $10 for the first transaction. What is send this guy download to Lemonade Finance.
I have to put on my A game.
Prove them wrong. Defend now the defenseless.
If you take care of that place, your man will eat that place up.
As plus, we need a young, not young per se, but a slim guy.
Okay.
Enter there.
You can fuck us like 10 times, and then the next time you come, it's so tight.
Ouch.
Paula Amabroni returns to your screens with Moons and Cuddles on Tuesday, February 7, 2023, only on GhanaWeb TV.